the Special Tribunal has just handed down judgment in favor of a bid by the Special Investigating Unit to include 6 more companies in the Digital Vibes litigation. Now, the SIU is trying to recover monies forked out in the Digital Vibes scandal. The debacle, you will recall, it cost the former health minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, his job. And let's get more now on this. Speak to our senior reporter, Tumaole Mohlaoli, who is with us here. Tumaole, very interesting developments on the back of the Parliamentary Ethics Committee clearing the former health minister of any responsibility when it comes to this particular deal. What does the latest information tell us? Who are some of these companies that ought to be added to, I suppose, the charge sheet of those who must be referred to the NPA?
Right, Oli. Now, in relation to who are the companies and individuals that are meant to be added, it will be All Out Trading, Tisokuhle Farming, Sithokozile Mkhize, who is an individual, and of course the individual would be by virtue of the surname linked to the former health minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, his son. He was at the center of this particular case because you remember that earlier it was alleged that he had received monies for the Digital Vibes contract because those individuals who run the Digital Vibes company are linked to Dr. Zweli Mkhize. They were former aides to him in his capacity. So he's now listed there, and then of course
let's just pause there for a moment, Tumaole. The reason you're triggering me here is that the name that is mentioned of this individual, it is linked to a certain company, but the name is strange to me because we know the former health minister's son. He goes by the name Dedane, but the name that is listed there,
the name that is Sithokozile Mkhize.
Okay, all right.
That is the name that is listed here.
We're going to have to
find out and see who exactly the name or what relation, if any, would be linked to, of course, Dr. Mkhize in that regard. Now, the other ones is, of course, Cedar Falls Properties, 34, and Sirela Trading. They have all denied any wrongdoing, but of course, SIU contends that there is a case to be answered to. So they have then been added to that because the allegation is that through the Digital Vibes contract, once the monies were secured, they were monies that were then paid to individuals. And where Dr. Mkhize has to answer to was security upgrades that were, or some upgrades,
some technical work
that was done to his property, his Johannesburg Northern Suburbs property here, which he has said has gotten nothing, no case to answer to, because when you look at the amounts there, it doesn't seem to be anything untoward. But again, it raises the question when it comes to the issue of oversight, because if you go back, Polly, again, and we remember that in the beginning, when this matter hit the national headlines, it was alleged that Dr. Mkhize had shown a peculiar interest in this particular matter and had allegedly overarched his authority by inquiring and allegedly leaning on those in the procurement department of the.
And there were particular text messages as well from the former DG who seemed to be under pressure from the former minister. To see to it that Digital Vibes
got the contract.
So here's the interesting bit as well here, Tumaole. And that is that on the back of the decision by the Parliamentary Ethics Committee, understand that that committee is a multi-party committee. That means a number of parties participate in that committee. And so far, I have only heard the Democratic Alliance, which was the main complainant anyway, stating just how disappointed they are about the result to clear the former minister. The other parties, though, and particularly for me, the EFF, why would they be so silent when they have been very vocal? Pay back the money. That was the slogan at the time that former President Zuma was in charge of the country. And what happened ultimately? He paid back the money. What is their what's their sense, what's their reaction to Dr. Mkhize having been cleared? Because if you're going to tell me that there has been nothing forthcoming from the EFF, are we to read that the EFF has softened its stance on corruption?
Well, in terms of softening its stance on corruption, the answer there would be a vociferous no. I put in inquiries to try and find out exactly what the political parties' reactions would be in Parliament. As far as the EFF goes, what I've received is that they are busy studying exactly what the outcome would be, and they are looking at it very carefully because, of course, they have a zero-tolerance stance to anyone who is found to be corrupt or to be engaging in allegedly corrupt activities. But as far as the other political parties, some of them are saying that they are quite disappointed by this finding because it hinges on a technicality. Now, as far as, of course, the UDM has been also one of the parties that has been very strong in terms of calling for all those who are linked to this particular matter to be brought to book. They had welcomed when Dr. Zweli Mkhize had stepped aside as fending the investigation and the outcome of the investigation. And they're saying that, well, they are also very perplexed because it hinges on the technicality that, according to the rule books of Parliament, if an individual is linked to someone who receives a contract, that contract has to prove that that individual is dependent on the parliamentarian. Now, what the committee has found is that, of course, Dr. Mkhize's son is an adult who is working for himself and is not dependent on the former health minister, and therefore this is where the clearance has come from.
And I suppose that takes away the talk around influence of politicians. Yes. That word, it's a special word because we have heard it used a number of times when certain tenders are issued that, no, the minister, there was influence. So influence plays no role in the ethics committee. Let's leave the conversation there, Tumaole, but it is peculiar. For me, the silence of the EFF, because I'm curious as to if it was a decision by consensus, which side did they lean on in this decision? Because they have been very vocal on issues of corruption. Let's leave it there, but also I suppose it does leave one to wonder if there are more companies added to the SIU for those that need to be referred for prosecution. If the former minister's name is not there, maybe indeed he played no role. Maybe let's just accept it and move on. Maybe indeed he played no role, but again, I think the EFF's reaction would be based on what the interpretation of what the Standing Committee's finding in Parliament has to say about that. But no doubt they will be looking at that matter very closely, as I've been informed, and we should hear something one way or another soon.